Viewmasters, it's the podcast that we do. Viewmasters, talk about movies that we view. Viewmasters, my friend Eric and me, Joe. Viewmasters, hey, let's start the show.
Well, hi. Welcome to the Viewmasters, episode 216. Sweetback's Baadasssss song. My name is Joe.
My name is Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hello, Joe.
How are you?
Oh, God.
Were you looking forward to me saying the title of the movie? I'm convinced that's the only reason you picked it.
It didn't even occur to me, actually.
That's the first time that I've said it out loud. I maybe should have practiced it ahead of time.
It's fine. I wouldn't know how to properly say it anyway either. So
Yeah, I don't either.
yeah, I guess, we'll just say it in the whitest way possible.
I mean, I tried to say it as whitely as I could.
You did pretty damn well.
I'm pretty good at being extremely white. It's kind of my whole deal. I've been doing it my whole life.
Oh, well, you're very good at it.
Thank you.
One of the best.
Oh, wow.
And you do it with relatively very little of the bad parts of all that.
I appreciate that. Relatively little is really the best I could ask for.
At this point in time, I really think that's all anyone can strive for.
I think you're probably right.
Just the most minor way to be awful.
A lot happened between when you picked the movie and when we're recording it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, this is all on me. I apologize. I've given you a lot of crap.
Read the room, Eric.
What a difference 6 days makes.
Yeah.
I have given you a lot of crap for some of the movies that you've picked. Not really knowing, exactly what the nature of those movies were going to be,
right,
and how they lined up with current affairs. I'd like to claim the same for what just happened, but I mean, I did have the slightest inkling of what this movie was going to be about. But I had no idea what was about to happen in reality.
Yeah.
And, oh boy.
I will tell you, I thought this movie was going to be a lot more cathartic than it was. And mostly I was just stressed.
Yeah. It's stressful. It's not an easy movie to watch.
Definitely
for,
not.
Multiple reasons.
Yeah. I was real uncomfortable. Not for white people reasons, but for other reasons at quite a few points of this movie.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat.
Yeah, minute 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had his son do that in this movie.
Yep. Oh boy. I should have gotten a drink.
I have a glass of water. It's my standard podcast beverage, is just to stay lubricated.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
But yeah, probably something a little stiffer would have been good.
Oh boy. Sweetback's Baadasssss song.
Baadasssss song.
So there's a probably a whole lot to talk about here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say right off the bat that I don't think this is actually a very good movie.
Okay.
Just for a lot of reasons. It is very experimental in its approach and execution.
Yes. A lot more experimental than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I did not expect any of that, actually. And part of it, I can't necessarily blame on the movie, but the streaming service that we used, which was Canopy, a library app, they don't exactly have the best print of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was very difficult to hear over the hisses and poor sound quality and poor picture quality.
Right.
And I'm sure back in 1971, this probably looked pristine. But in 2020, streaming on my TV, it did not. And,
the HD really makes it pop.
Yeah. And also, I would like to say narratively, it's a mess. But also, there's barely a narrative.
Yeah, there's really not much story beyond, just sort of the bare minimum, bare bones thing. I will say, as far as the sound quality goes, I know you have said that you're watching most of these movies with subtitles on.
Yes.
I turned the subtitles on for this as well, just to help myself be able to follow it a little better, and I do think that helped a bit.
Did help me somewhat, because I don't think I would have been able to tell what anybody was saying throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But the movie also fucks with the sound and the dialogue anyway.
Right.
With a lot of overlapping dialogue and heavy music, which is mostly captioned by the word funk.
Right. I really enjoyed that. I almost texted you that yesterday. Just music note, parentheses, funk.
I would have appreciated that. And I almost texted you an apology.
Aww. I don't regret having watched this movie. There are things that I actually really appreciated about it. I wouldn't say that I enjoyed this, but I did appreciate things about it. There was a lot of imagery that I liked. Just the long sequences of Sweetback on the run were kind of fun. Just him running from place to place with that one funk song playing. I actually kind of enjoyed that. And the way, there's one point where it seems like the music follows him. Mm-hmm. I think he arrives at a church, and they're singing in the church, and then it cuts back and forth between him running with the funk music and then the singing in the church, and then as he comes in the door of the church, you see it from the inside, and him come through the door, you can still sort of hear his funk music in the background. So I like the idea that when Sweetback runs, this music goes with him, and this is just his traveling music.
Hey, wow, you've almost entirely changed my mind about the movie.
I think if the whole thing had been that's sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing. Mm-hmm. I think if the whole thing had been like that, obviously it's not a tongue-in-cheek movie.
No,
entirely anyway. There's I feel like some over-the-top stuff going on throughout.
Like Beetle.
Well, yeah. or the fact that I guess Sweetback's superpower is fucking.
I believe, yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so this is really an early superhero movie.
I mean, it kind of is.
Kind of.
Tragic origins, great powers, responsibility. I don't know.
Right. No, it all checks out.
Sure. All right.
But yeah, if it had been a little bit more, like
Fun?
I said, tongue in cheek. Yeah, if it had been a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But I get also that that's not sort of the point of the movie.
Right.
Like part of what I really liked, I really noticed it towards the end, is sort of I felt like, anyway, maybe this is just my reading of it, that there's a lot of like slavery images.
Right.
Like Sweetback runs around in handcuffs for a while, and he sort of just goes to places looking for help.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets pretty overt towards the end when the cops who are after him have like bloodhounds or whatever that they take to send after him.
Right.
I just it's all underneath this sort of spirituals that are being sung.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that juxtaposition and sort of the and maybe I'm reading modern current events on to the movie as well. This is history repeats, and the African Americans are still sort of dealing with all of the issues that slavery brought with them, and
right.
So I appreciated that element of the movie.
I appreciate that stuff too, and I did definitely see a lot of slavery imagery in the movie, especially like you said, during the scenes where he's running. In fact, there's an early scene when he basically first goes on the run that because again the movie is shot very experimentally.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of solarization and overlapping images and everything like that, and then inverse colors, etc. And there's a scene where he's running shortly after the inciting incident, which causes him to run. And I honestly thought that, for a moment, it was because I didn't recognize Sweetback's clothes. That it was imagery of slaves running, but it was actually just him with some crazy cinematography effects.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I'm thinking of the exact moment that you're thinking of, but there was definitely a part where you see him running and the color is inverted,
right?
And it looks like he's wearing sort of this loose flowing white shirt.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the scene I believe I'm talking about.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I definitely oh yeah, that's that sort of when I think of what I've seen of slavery in films and books. When I think of that's sort of what I think of as quote unquote the uniform, I guess.
Right.
that slaves wear, and so yeah, I definitely thought, oh yeah, he's like an escaped slave.
Right.
Here.
I was definitely visualizing mentally Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave,
Right.
Because I've not actually seen that movie, but all the trailers and everything, he was wearing the similar type of clothing that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's what he wears on the poster for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciated all of that stuff.
Right.
I did not appreciate the child rape at the very beginning of the movie.
Sure, that's a little bit uncomfortable, I guess.
A little bit?
No, it was very uncomfortable.
I actually like it. The credits play over that scene,
yep. Mm-hmm.
And I actually fast forwarded through it. I was so uncomfortable.
Oh my god. Yeah, that happened. And yeah, that is Melvin Van Peebles' very own son.
Yeah.
That he made do that.
Yeah. It's, oh my god.
Yep.
And then it's just never addressed again. So like,
Yep.
why is this scene in this movie?
I mean,
I did not understand that.
it's I guess to establish the kind of life that Sweetback lived,
I suppose.
which I guess informs his personality throughout the movie.
Does it?
I don't know. I'm trying here. It's not good, man.
It's not. It's not.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. It is pedophilia, straight up.
Yeah.
Like I said, minute 1. Maybe minute 2.
And maybe minute 2. Yeah, there's a little bit before that.
Yeah. This is a tough movie at times.
Yeah. It really set me on edge for the whole thing.
So I mean, we're also looking at this as, not just outsiders for the intended audience, but also, 50 years, after this came out.
Right.
And I'm sure some of this was definitely meant to be shocking. But just some things are timeless in their shockingness.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
never gonna be okay with that.
Yeah, no, it was not a good choice.
Yeah.
Melvin Van Peebles 50 years later.
It actually, I tell you, that scene specifically made me really want to watch the movie that Mario Van Peebles made about the making of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see, like, if there's any sort of reckoning with that.
Or just at least addressing it.
Right, yeah.
I did think multiple times throughout watching this that I would probably have rather enjoyed that movie, which is just called Baadasssss, instead of watching this movie.
Right.
Because I think the story behind this movie is way more fascinating than, the actual product.
Yeah.
To me, suburban white guy from 50 years in the future.
Right. But, someone who's interested in filmmaking.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'm... I don't know, man.
I know. It's tough.
Yeah. I'm certainly not going to defend pedophilia.
No, I would hope that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would not stand for it if you did.
I
don't think we would be here if I thought that was a thing that you were gonna do.
Nope. It was shocking and upsetting. I instantly thought of you as it was happening.
That's weird.
Well, just because I was worried about you.
Oh.
I was just like, oh, Joe is really not gonna like this. Hey, it turns out I was right. You
were extremely right.
Yeah.
Well done.
I powered through it and hoped to God that nothing like it happened in the rest of the movie. And nothing exactly like it happened, but it still was uncomfortable in places.
Yeah.
I don't. It's weird to me anyway to have this movie, which is clearly trying to send a very specific message, but also has like all sorts of other problematic messages in it as well.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you reconcile, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is just, like, how much of that is dated and just,
Right.
our ideas of what's appropriate have changed in the past 50 years.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I think the idea of, a guy whose superpower is that he's super good at sex is, workable.
Sure.
It's somewhat undeveloped in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, so this is not really considered a blaxploitation movie because it was kind of the first.
Right.
And most blaxploitation movies, sort of by definition, were usually made to essentially cash in. But before this, nobody had any idea that a movie like this would be successful. And this movie was very successful. I think it was made for like $50,000, and it made like $15 million eventually.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But this does, set the standard for like a lot of the movies that copied it, and parodied it, like, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I've watched more than a few blaxploitation movies, and they all seem to follow a similar plot to this one, with very similar lead characters, but perhaps slightly more developed.
Okay.
But they're also, like I said, they're pretty much just cashing in on a trend, and a lot of them are being very campy or tongue in cheek, with what they're doing, and this, like, there are moments of humor, but I don't think the intention of it at all is to be humorous.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I joke about his superpower being that he's really good at sex, but
Right.
I did find that humorous at times.
Oh, like the scene when he confronts the Hell's Angels.
Right.
Yeah.
When he picks his weapon, and his weapon is fucking.
Yep. And surprisingly, everybody agrees to it.
Yeah. I actually did laugh out loud when that happened. Like, okay. That's what we're doing now.
Yep. And then it happens.
Yeah. Maybe not simulated?
From what I've read, possibly not.
Yeah.
So, that also happens in this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the plot, such as it is, basically, Sweetback is a male prostitute who is initially friendly with some white cops, and he agrees to basically be arrested by the cops for a murder, and then they'll let him go. It's just basically sort of a representative type of thing.
Right. Yeah, they need sort of a patsy,
right?
Just to get people off their back, and then once the heat has died down, they'll let him go.
Right. And so he agrees to go do it, and then in the middle of it, the two cops arrest and then beat the crap out of a young Black Panther leader, which suddenly causes Sweetback to just rebel. And he beats the shit out of the cops, and then the rest of the movie is just him going on the run and trying to escape. And,
basically,
and like you said, a lot of scenes of him just running.
Right.
Literally half of the movie is just him running. And a good quarter of it is invisible cops interviewing people to see if they know Sweetback.
Right. Yeah, I liked, once he does go on the run, I guess I should back up. So in the opening credits, the first thing that it says is that it stars the black community.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting.
I like that a lot, yeah.
I like that. But then I feel like that sort of plays out in the movie as Sweetback is on the run, and it feels like he's sort of, or maybe this is what I wanted it to be. I don't know if it is actually successful at it, but it feels like he sort of gives you like a tour of the black community in this neighborhood. And you meet the church folks, and you meet the people back at the brothel, and you meet a few other people,
Mm-hmm.
and they all make up this community. And so, obviously eventually he leaves that, but I like that as an idea, as sort of like it's a road movie or something where he's sort of just checking in with all of these different groups, and you get a little glimpse of their lives. And like I said, I don't know if it's super successful, but I like the idea of it.
Right. I think you're right in that assessment. And it. I mean, you're right. He really does kind of take you on just a little tour of that area anyway. But it also doesn't really do the best though, because every single person he turns to essentially, shuts him down and rejects him.
That's true.
Until, he is literally, running for the border. And none of his, community will back him up for, various reasons.
Right.
Which, I don't know exactly what he was trying to say with that, but it is also, juxtaposed with some very racist white cops.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredibly racist white cops.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to everybody in his community, they wouldn't want to have to deal with them any more than they possibly have to, I'm sure. So
that is also very true. And none of them snitch on him, so there is that.
Right.
Well, sort of. Beetle does initially when he first returns back to the brothel.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Sells him out, but then he manages to escape. But then later on, he does to his physical injury, not sell Sweetback out later. There's I mean, for all what I find are faults in the movie for reasons that I did not particularly enjoy it as a movie, it is still shockingly relevant.
Yeah,
Or
unfortunately.
Unshockingly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not an easy watch. For reasons that are happening right now.
Right.
In the world, which
yeah,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree. It's I think definitely for those reasons it's challenging, and also just the way that it's made. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it is very experimental, so it's not just a sort of a light movie you can put on while you're doing other things and be able to follow it.
Right.
It definitely requires some concentration. yeah, I don't know that like I said before, I don't know that I really enjoyed watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciated things about it, and I feel like it was worth watching as an artifact, and knowing that it was so influential, I feel like it's worth watching.
I agree with that for sure. I don't want to say that I'm glad I watched it, but I'm appreciative of the fact that I did give it the time.
Right.
That I did. I feel just as like a cinematic experience. If it had been more straightforward, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But because it is so, at times very psychedelic and experimental, that and also because it does star the black community, there's only like 2 actual actors in the movie.
Right.
And everyone else is just people that they just got to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And so the acting is not the best throughout. And then just juxtaposed with some of the filmmaking choices, it makes it not a great movie experience, but it does make a good cultural experience, if you get what I mean there.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if nothing else, it made me, like I said, want to watch the movie about the making of it.
Right. Yeah, because as I often do, and I think you do as well. I read up on the movie, after watching it a little bit.
Definitely.
And yeah, the story behind it is super fascinating. Yeah, I definitely would like to watch, the Mario Van Peebles making of movie.
Yeah.
Biopic.
I guess it's a biopic, yeah.
Yeah.
I was disappointed to see, or at least off-put to see that Bill Cosby helped fund the making of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that hasn't aged well.
No, it really hasn't, but, we all used to love Bill Cosby.
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of, things relevant today, let's, just sometimes it goes the opposite way and goes bad.
Right.
Not that, the inherent racism and, the American political system is good.
I was going to say, like, it either goes bad or it stays exactly the same.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's not good either. But, when things are awful, it's hard to be even more disappointed.
That's true.
Other than, pretending it's great and then finding out it's fucking terrible.
Right.
So we are reviewing this on the first week of June. I think this episode will come out sometime, early, mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
So God knows what's going to be happening then.
I hope things are... I always hope things are better in the future than they are now.
Right.
But, dear God, I hope things are better in the future.
Things are better and that they are changed for the better.
Yeah, I don't mean to say, like, oh, I hope the protests are over. I hope that there's no reason for there to be protests anymore.
Right. Yeah. I am 100% in support of all the protests happening right now, and I hope they continue happening until everything changes for the better.
Right. Yeah. Until the police are abolished,
right?
Or something happens.
Yeah.
Some sort of reform. I don't know. Yeah. It's gonna take a lot of work.
It is, and honestly, I don't think anything good is going to happen if, we make a few concessions and then, say, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like everything has to keep happening.
Right.
And so probably in a month, it probably won't be, a thing of the past.
Oh yeah, no, I don't expect
there
to be radical change in the next 6 weeks.
No.
But, some sort of, movement in the right direction would be nice.
Yes, absolutely.
With the president that we have, though, I wonder.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, sorry, I got to bring that guy into it.
No, I mean it's yeah, I mean perfectly on topic. I mean,
yeah,
the big reason that all of this is happening right now is because of that. But when you think about just a week ago, our biggest worry was disease. And
right.
Now we have disease, political unrest, violence, and, Nazis.
Yeah. I mean, we had Nazis before, too.
We had all that stuff, before, but it was not as overt as it is at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to properly say what I want to say without sounding just like a privileged asshole, but
I'll say it and we'll figure it out.
Like certainly I don't want people to be hurt or businesses to be lost, due to the things that are happening. But, time and time again, the proof is that they aren't happening until the police get involved.
Right.
Or it's just white jackasses trying to stir up shit.
Yeah.
Which, further cements the message of this movie that, white people probably not so great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
White people do not recommend. And I say that as a pasty white person myself.
No, we have already established just how white you are and just how good at white you are.
Right. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And unfortunately, as a half Latino, I don't have much room to speak because I am also very white.
I mean, I don't want to get into a white-off with you here.
No, I mean, I would say, at least physically, you win.
Right.
I mean, you are practically a ginger.
I am translucent.
I just have a really nice tan.
You do.
Yeah. Oh,
it looks good.
You.
It looks
Thank
good
you.
on you.
Oh my. This is I didn't expect this.
Yeah. So, Sweetback.
Yeah, Sweetback.
Was there a sequel? It seemed like it was setting up a sequel.
Yeah, it did not end. The movie has no ending.
Yeah, it's just Sweetback's coming back for revenge.
Yeah. No, there was no sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. But, maybe the sequel was the friends we made along the way.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe the sequel was every other blaxploitation film that ever got made after this one.
That could be.
Yeah.
Maybe that is it.
Just picking up the themes through weird white lenses. because that is sort of the unfortunate thing, is that a lot of the blaxploitation movies of the 70s were, written and directed by white guys.
Right.
Just cashing in on that. Hey, black movies can sell tickets.
Yeah, hence the exploitation part of blaxploitation.
Exactly. I remember when I worked at a movie theater in high school. Whenever there was a majority black film that would come out, they were always packed. I mean, just no matter what, just every showing, every day. Maybe not a sellout, but always packed. Which, as an employee who has to go clean up the theaters afterwards, it was annoying.
Right.
But as a 41-year-old man, years later, I can look back at it now and see that, it's just because, people in the black community are starving for, entertainment that, represents them.
Right.
Pretty much no matter what it is, or, the quality of the movie.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Which, I'm not sure what my point I'm trying to make here is, but, it's just, I guess, in reference to this movie, I can absolutely see why, Melvin Van Peebles wanted to make this movie and wanted to do it his way. And, like I said, even though I wouldn't say I particularly enjoyed this movie, I'm always appreciative of people who have a vision and can get it done.
Absolutely.
And I mean, as far as I can tell, it is pretty uncompromised.
Yeah, if he compromised on things, I don't know what it would be.
Nope. Yep. I have not a clue. I guess, I would say I recommend it, just to view as, just an archive of where American and black culture in particular was, like, in 1970,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not entirely different from where it is now, but still.
No, definitely not.
Worth looking at.
I mean, we also have to think that, black voices, may not have the reach that it should, in this day and age. But at the time this was made, they had no reach.
Right.
So, that is, pretty stunning in and of itself.
That's true. That's a good point.
So, yeah, like you said, I didn't enjoy it, but I can appreciate it.
Yeah. I feel like that's still pretty good.
Yeah. Ultimately, yes, I agree with you. I am glad that I watched this.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate bit of timing, and just everything that happened since last Thursday.
Right. Maybe people will start watching this movie like they all watched Contagion right after COVID hit.
I mean, I have noticed, a lot of the trending movies I see on some various streaming platforms have all been, documentaries or movies about the black experience. So,
right.
It's happening a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's probably other movies people could watch.
Yeah. But yeah, Sweetback.
Yeah. Badass song.
Yeah. To everyone who wants to fight the man.
Right.
Yeah. I forget exactly how it was worded in the opening credits there.
It was something like that. I like that too.
Yeah. Also, not on any of the credits or anything like that, but the movie was rated X by an all-white jury.
Right.
And I will say there was one aspect of the movie that I found way more distracting than anything else. And this is pretty much just only relevant to my life experience.
Okay.
The guy who played the commissioner, the police commissioner.
Yeah.
He was on like 4 episodes of Night Court throughout the run of that show, and it distracted me every time he was on screen because I'm like, hey, it's that guy.
Amazing.
Because as we know, Night Court, my favorite show.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a thing that caught my attention was the so after the Hell's Angels sequence, they all disperse, and it may actually be after the shootout or confrontation that Sweetback and the young Black Panther have with the cops, where they're both injured, and then a black biker arrives and says he can only take one of them to safety. The actor who played that biker is named John Amos.
Yes.
And I know him primarily from The West Wing as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But I know he's in a lot of other stuff, too.
Yeah, I've seen him in a ton of things, and I definitely recognized him as well. But, I mean, I've never seen West Wing, and as far as I've learned, I probably never should.
Aw. I know Dave Anthony hates it, but I still love it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pick something for next week?
Well, before we do that, I had an idea last week that I totally forgot to talk about.
Oh crap! I forgot about that.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm sure you can come up with something on the fly.
Probably.
But I was thinking that, especially like last week where we were definitely not fans of the movie, in this one where we're sort of in a weird spot with it, it'd be nice to just, have just a recommendation. Nothing in particular. Doesn't have to be a movie, doesn't have to be, anything specific. But just something that we greatly enjoy and would want to recommend to each other and to anyone who's listening. And, I thought that'd just be, in the case of negative reviews, a little beacon of positivity, and in the case of positive reviews, just extra positivity.
Yeah.
So there's a show I'd like to recommend to you if you've never seen it. That I think that you might find absolutely delightful. It is called Taskmaster.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
You can. It is a British game show of sorts.
Okay.
You can find the first 5 series of it available for free on YouTube.
Okay.
I believe it is updated weekly, and currently they're like on the 3rd episode of Series 6 being shown on there. But it is each season has a group of 5 comedian panelists who are given a series of tasks that they are then asked to perform, and are given points based on how well they do or how poorly they do, which is most often the case. And it can be things like they're on a track and there's 2 buckets. One is filled with water, the other is not. And they need to fill the other bucket full of water, or as much as they can, but not touch either of the buckets. And they're given a bundle of items that they can use that, most of them tend to just have holes in them.
Okay.
Or are very tiny. And they have 2 minutes to do that.
That sounds pretty fun.
It is incredibly fun and hilarious. Or, they have to paint a picture of a horse while riding a horse.
All right, I'm sold.
All right.
That's excellent.
An American version, which I've never actually been able to find anywhere, that was hosted by Reggie Watts.
Oh, wow.
But knowing what little I do of Reggie Watts and having watched, all of, the current Taskmaster British version, I don't see Reggie Watts as a good fit for that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch the British version and report back and see if I agree with you.
All right. Heavily recommended.
So that's my homework.
All right.
Well, I would recommend for you. There's a podcast that I've been listening to, and I know that you don't listen to as many podcasts as you used to,
right?
Because you don't have the long commute that you did.
Right.
But there's a podcast called Dead Eyes.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I've heard of the comic Dead Eyes.
Okay, it's not that.
Okay. So not by Rick Remender or not Rick
Not
Remender.
by Rick Remender. No.
Jerry Dugan is the writer of Dead Eyes.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is a podcast hosted by a comedian named Connor Ratliff.
Okay.
And he in I think 2000 or 2001 auditioned or was cast in a part on the Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg produced Band of Brothers series.
Okay.
And then was abruptly fired from the role after apparently Tom Hanks saw his audition tape and thought that he had dead eyes.
Okay.
So it's basically about Connor Ratliff sort of examining that scenario or that situation to try and get to the bottom of it. Like, does he really have dead eyes?
Huh. All right.
And on the way he talks to actor and comedian friends who have either they're just friends with him or they have a tangential connection to either Band of Brothers or to Tom Hanks. And he'll talk to them about their dead eyes stories, times that they've been inexplicably fired from jobs, and sort of the psychological effect that has on them. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's on hiatus right now because of the COVID.
Sure.
The last episode was him, sort of sheltering in place. He was on tour, and he ended up having to the tour was canceled mid-tour, but he happened to be in his hometown, so he's just staying with his parents. So that episode is him interviewing his parents.
All right,
which is pretty great.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so it's really entertaining.
That reminds me of a documentary I watched once. It's called Fired. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
It's made by Annabelle Gurwitch.
Okay.
She's an actress, and if I remember correctly, it is about. It was spurned by her basically getting hired for a Woody Allen movie and then getting fired.
Oh, wow.
And then her experiences with that, and then she interviews a whole bunch of other actors about their fired experiences.
Nice. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that came out in 2007.
Okay.
I remember I got that on Netflix via disc.
Nice.
When those were things.
They still offer discs.
I know they do, and even I think 4 or 5 years ago, I was still getting some.
Yeah, my parents still get Netflix discs.
Excellent. Good for your parents. I am proud of Thomas and Martha.
Where did you hear those names?
Parents.
It's Jonathan and Martha, thank you.
Sorry. I knew I should have made you Superman and not Batman.
It's okay.
Tell me a movie.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like the recommendations.
I'll try to remember to do it next time.
Me too.
I pretty much only just wanted to tell you about Taskmaster.
We can talk off air.
I know we can.
I know usually we just sit in silence.
Yeah. Well, hopefully by me telling you, hey, watch Taskmaster on a recorded podcast, this will give you the impetus to actually watch it.
That's true, yeah, because most things I just like, okay, sure, I'll do that, and then I never do it. So. Yeah. we've been watching. We binged through a lot of Top Chef, and now we've been watching Survivor.
Okay.
We've got some things going on aside from everything else. So just having some mindless reality TV to get lost in has been kind of nice.
All right, well,
Taskmaster sounds like maybe the fun parts of Survivor without the annoying parts. So
yeah. I mean, I've never seen Survivor, but sure. I don't own a TV.
I know.
Well, literally, I've never seen Survivor.
No, you're fine. You're doing fine.
All right, good.
All right, yeah. So should I go ahead and pick a movie for next week?
I would love that.
Okay. So you probably have a at least idea of what I might be picking because I sent you a list earlier this week.
Yes.
Because I did not want to get caught picking something you'd already seen again.
I feel really bad that you feel like you have to come to that because I just sort of like being surprised.
I know. Well, that's why I try to give you a varied list.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. So I don't know exactly what you're gonna pick.
Right.
You did have one movie on there which I vehemently said that I would not watch.
Right, and I quickly crossed that off.
Yeah. For the listener, if they're curious, that was Under the Skin.
Right. A movie that you said everyone will say is great, and everyone is wrong.
Yep. 100%.
So the movie that I am going to go with for next week
Alrighty.
Is a movie starring Bryan Cranston.
Okie doke.
And it's called Trumbo.
Alrighty.
And it's about the screenwriter Dalton Trumbo.
Yes. Johnny Got His Gun?
I think so.
I believe
Or Johnny Get Your Gun?
Something like that, yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. Yeah, what's that on?
That is on Netflix.
Okie doke.
So, yeah.
I will watch that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember really wanting to see that when it came out, and then I totally missed it, and figured, let's watch it now. I like a Bryan Cranston.
I do as well. He's A-okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, Trumbo.
Awesome.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing him play a flying elephant.
Yep. Oh man, if Donald Trump were an elephant, his name would be Trumbo. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
No, we'll be back next week to talk about Trumbo.
All right. Goodbye.
All right, see you then.
Thank you for listening to The Viewmasters. You can subscribe to the show directly at view.guttertrash.net or at iTunes and leave us a review. Visit view.guttertrash.net for email information and links to Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time on The Viewmasters.